Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today's episode is going to be titled, Not Everyone is Going to Be Interested in Us. Talking to people can feel like an emotional minefield sometimes. You put yourself out there, try to make a connection, and sometimes it just doesn't land. It's hard to predict how people will respond to you. They might not be interested for a million reasons. Maybe you're not talking about something they're into, or maybe they just don't vibe with your energy. Sometimes they get bored or feel like the conversation has run its course, even if it's been going on for months. Other times they're dealing with their own stuff and they just don't have the emotional bandwidth to keep engaging. The truth is, it's impossible to know why someone pulls away. And that uncertainty, it can drive you up the wall if you let it. But here's the catch. When someone stops talking to us, our minds immediately try to fill in the blanks. We either start blaming ourselves or get defensive, trying to protect our ego. We ask ourselves questions like, what did I do wrong? Why don't they like me? Am I boring? Am I not enough? Or, on the flip side, we flip the script and start blaming them, thinking things like, they're so rude. How could they just stop talking to me without any explanation? And while those feelings are natural, they're also exhausting. Trust me, I've been there. One thing I've learned, and honestly I'm still learning, is that sometimes it's not about us at all. People have their reasons for leaving, and those reasons are often way more about them than they are about you. Maybe they're not in the right headspace. Maybe they don't feel like the connection is there. Or maybe they don't even know why. They just lose interest. And you know what? That's okay. It doesn't mean you're flawed or unworthy. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means that for whatever reason, that particular connection wasn't meant to last. Still, it's hard to let go of that initial sting. It's so easy to spiral into self doubt and start picking apart everything you said or did, trying to find the mistake that made them stop talking. You replay the conversations in your head, overanalyze their responses, and wonder if you should have said something differently. It's exhausting, and it's honestly a waste of energy. But it's human nature, right? We want answers, even when there aren't any to be found. I think part of the struggle comes from the way we tie our self worth to how others perceive us. When someone stops talking to us, it feels like a rejection of who we are as a person. But that's not true at all. Someone losing interest in a conversation, or even in a relationship, doesn't define your value. It doesn't mean you're unlovable, boring, or inadequate. It just means that for whatever reason, they didn't see things the same way you did. And that's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their perspective, their feelings, and their priorities. I've had to remind myself of this so many times, especially when I've put myself out there and been met with silence or worse, a sudden block. Just today, I was talking to someone using voice messages. I thought the conversation was going well, but within 20 minutes, she blocked me. No explanation, no warning, just gone. And yeah, it stung. My first reaction was confusion. I kept thinking, what did I say? Did I come across the wrong way? Was my voice annoying? But then I took a step back and reminded myself that her decision to block me had nothing to do with my worth as a person. We barely knew each other. She didn't even know me well enough to have a full picture of who I am. So, whatever her reason was, it wasn't really about me. That's a hard pill to swallow, though, isn't it? It's tough to accept that not everyone will like you or want to engage with you no matter how great you are. And sometimes their reasons won't make sense to you. They might not even make sense to them. People are complex and their feelings are messy. They make decisions based on their own experiences, insecurities, and preferences. And while it's easy to take those decisions personally, it's important to remember that they're not about you. Another thing I've had to remind myself of is that no one owes me their time or attention. That sounds harsh, but it's true. Just like I have the right to walk away from a conversation that doesn't feel right, so does everyone else. No one is obligated to keep talking to me, no matter how much I wish they would. And as much as it hurts when someone leaves without an explanation, I have to respect their choice. Holding on to resentment or feeling entitled to their time only makes it harder to move on. I'll be honest, having someone lose interest in you can mess with your ego. It feels like a slap in the face. especially if they seemed interested at first. One moment, they're all in, and the next, they're gone. It's disorienting, and it leaves you questioning everything. But at the end of the day, their decision to walk away doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're unworthy of love or connection. It just means that particular connection wasn't meant to last. And as much as that realization sucks, it's also freeing. You don't have to carry the weight of someone else's disinterest. You don't have to let it define you. I've also realized that not everyone who walks away even knows what they're walking away from. When people barely know you, their disinterest isn't really about you. It's about their perception of you, which might be totally off base. Maybe they didn't stick around long enough to see the full picture. Maybe they made assumptions or didn't give the connection a real chance. And and that's on them, not you. There's so much freedom in accepting that people are allowed to leave and you're allowed to let them go. It's not easy, though. It's so tempting to hold on to those feelings of hurt or rejection, to dwell on what could have been, but that only holds you back. Instead, I try to focus on the people who do see me for who I am, the ones who value me and treat me with respect. Those are the connections that matter. And while no relationship lasts forever, the ones that are built on mutual care and understanding are worth cherishing while they do last. At the end of the day, all relationships, whether they're romantic, platonic, or just casual conversations, will eventually come to an end. That's just how life works. People grow, change, and move on. And that's okay. It's not about holding on to every connection forever. It's about appreciating the moments you share with others and letting go when it's time. And when someone leaves, it's not a reflection of your value as a person. It's just part of the human experience. I'm saying all this as much for myself as for anyone else. It's something I have to remind myself of constantly. And maybe you feel the same way. If you do, I hope this gives you some comfort. You're not alone in these feelings, and it's okay to struggle with them. But remember, you're worthy of love and connection, no matter who decides to walk away. Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Signing out. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye for now.